Well, this is PEP4 Task 1, and I've called it an exemplar, but I've mashed up 3 assignments put into the best, just showing you how different students have approached things. And for basically the 3 sections of the assignment, that's the data, that's the strategy, elaborations and connections, and then the outworking of that into a lesson plan. So let's have a look here. This student has given an introduction and has taken the opportunity, therefore, to put a couple of references in, which is great. So it's talking about, this is about a data-informed practice, and the introduction tells me it's a year 4. Now this person here, this has summarized and collated the information that is already in the case study data, and then said, well, okay, there's a little bit of synthesis here. So basically, though, it's collating information. Here's another person who's done something slightly different. They've collated the same information, but notice the annotations, and the annotations refer to, therefore, this would apply. Therefore, this would apply. So the visual affordance of the annotation is already directing me as a reader to say this person's doing some analysis and thinking. That's the power of annotations. So both are quite sound. Now, the next section now is, okay, I've got the data. How do I synthesize it, analyze it, and forecast what I might do? So for each student, this is just student number 1, and they did that for all that above for every student. Student number 1 starts to describe what's going on, talks about all the elements of the data that are there. So it's talking about the NAP plan. It's talking about this independent, standardized, good literacy skills like science, and talks about some of the learner profiles that they have. So it's really a descriptive summary. It's not really a little bit of voice to say, what's my response? It could be stronger. This is how then another student has tabularized, just for student 1, what it looks like. And notice they've used the framework of readiness, interest, and learner profile, and they've used the output of content, process, product, and environment. So they've said for this same student that was discussed previously by another CHC student, they said there's tiered instruction, jigsaw, and open-ended tasks are the way they are going to respond to readiness for that student based on the data, and so on. Choice board, collaborative learning, choice strategy, flexible seating arrangements. Here's their VARC strategies. They've highlighted all of them that they are competent and capable in, and that's how they're going to do it. So that's just for student 1. So this is repeated for the 3 students that they had. Here's an alternate table by another student. And notice they've highlighted really clearly some areas of particular difference. So for their 3 students, that have different highlights that are there. So these are things they're going to do for their whole class, and then they've highlighted particular aspects that are unique to the student. Notice they've done slightly different, and they've based it on a Tasmanian sort of framework, but it's very similar. Content, process, product, and learning environment. And it says interest, change the interest. Change and challenge the readiness, and change or offer choice that are there. So it's gone through and highlighted the different ways they're going to promote their engagement, different ways they're going to promote their readiness and challenge, different ways they're going to provide choice that are there in terms of, the learning profile. Body kinesthetic, music place, mixed grouping here, tiered instruction. So the teal scaffold. So all of those things are a synthesis now, and this is saying what my response is. So in there, I see a whole lot of different responses. So tiered, jigsaw, choice board, collaborative learning, for example. Here I've had teal scaffolds, graphic organisers, written response, etc. So in this next section, although it's a different student, I will see the elaboration of their strategies. So they were different to the tables you just saw, but this student's chosen 4 strategies. So the VARC strategy, notice there's 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs here. So it unpacks the VARC strategy, and it has an academic justification. Then it says student 1 and 3, with their preferred learning style, and they refer to their previous work, would have all those styles. Also, they identified kinesthetic as a dominant learning style. So, in other words, it's linking really clearly the student to the strategy. And that was probably an area that some people missed. They just unpacked the strategy, but you must link your student learning need or preference to the strategy. Again, with flexible grouping, you'll see that it's just a short on what grouping, what its explanation of it, where they have an academic reference, and they've linked student 1 to that, and they've linked student 3 to that. How they'll fit in. Similarly with social cognitive learning, which is more of a collaborative type strategy, and tiered learning. So in each case, it is expanded on the concept and linked the student. I would say the best one here is when you've got the 3 paragraphs and you've linked really clearly. You've given it 1 paragraph to explain the strategy and 1 or 2 paragraphs separate to the strategy to highlight how you've linked the learner. Then where do we go now? To the action or the lesson plan. Now 2 examples I'm choosing here, and both are strong with annotations and embedments. Notice that using the part of the CHC template, notice you can really see here clearly, for example, what they are doing. Rotations, worksheets, graphic organizers, differentiated worksheets, and so on. So you can really see what's going on. Notice they have little things embedded there, the resources. You could append resources, so this person's embedded it into the lesson. And it's got all the annotation. Student 1, student 2, a learning interest. Student 1, where's another one? These are groups of heterogeneous, it explains why. It's got a bark strategy there, which links to their discussion prior. So it's really well and visually supported in terms of their strategies that they chose to speak of are now implemented in this lesson, and it links to the data. So that's a strong annotation that is there. Similarly, we have another one here using the top of here. Top of the CHC lesson plan also, and here we have again annotations, and clearly you can see what's going on in terms of through the phases. There's a video, there's a guided inquiry, there's focused teaching, there's a jigsaw activity. So they are explicit strategies that person spoke of, and in fact that is, to link it, that is here. So you can see some of the things that are collaborative learning, jigsaw activity, for example, VARC, is what they put in their table, and therefore I see it in the lesson, and it's highlighted through annotations. There's, you think, collaborative learning, there's a visual, here, examples of information, not sure what that annotation's about, jigsaw activity, there you go. So it links really well. So that is a mashup of 3 students' work to look at how that assignment plays out. The 3 sections. No, I didn't put the references in, but the best one I saw probably had in the region of about 12 to 15 references. I'm thinking around about the 6 minimum. The 8 to 10 is probably on point in terms of what you need in terms of academic justification. But note the coherency between the data discussion, the tabulation of it, the strategy elaboration linked to the student, and then the lesson is really using annotations and headings and phases of the lesson to demonstrate the strategies you just described prior to the lesson. So I hope this is helpful for you.